What's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSDMode weekly real estate tip. And today I'm going to be breaking down how to create a killer real estate listing presentation so you can become a dominant listing agent. Look, in real estate, and this is really important to understand, that real estate is a two-step sales process. So all of your lead gen and lead follow-up exist for step number one of the sales process, which is for you to set that appointment. Then from there on that appointment, when we conduct those appointments, we need to make sure that we have our presentations dialed in so we can convert those appointments into customers, into clients at the highest possible level. Look, you don't want to put all this energy and effort into your lead gen, lead follow-up just to get to the conference table or get to the kitchen table and to go out there and flop, or to be like the average real estate agent and convert only at 50%. You want to make sure you are a world-class listing agent. If you have a world-class listing presentation in place, you need to be converting at 90% plus of your appointments that you conduct or listing presentations that you conduct that then convert into signed listing agreements. So today I'm going to be breaking down exactly what that is, my 4-step framework to creating an effective, dialed-in, world-class listing presentation. I'm going to be walking you through my personal listing presentation process that's allowed me to become one of the top realtors on the planet, with selling well over 7,000 homes, one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet, and converting at my personal conversion ratio on listing appointments, which is 92%, and making sure that you have the tools, the information, and all that you need to go out there and, again, create that world-class listing presentation. So real quick, before we jump into this though, look, if you are looking to take your real estate business to the next level, and if you are looking for hands down the most effective real estate business building coaching program in the industry, while at the same time is the most affordable, I highly encourage you to check out my Real Estate Mastery Bootcamp coaching program, where you can learn more about it. I've got an in-depth breakdown video of how the program works, what it entails, commitment, pricing, all of that at www.gsdmode.com/coaching. Again, www.gsdmode.com/coaching if you want to learn more about my coaching program to take your business to the next level. Okay, enough on that. Let's just jump on in. Now, I first want to go through a couple tips, and then I'm going to walk you through my 4-part presentation framework so you can get to working on making sure that you have a world-class dialed-in listing presentation inside your business. Okay, so the first thing is, again, how do we define world-class? Okay, industry average conversions at listing presentations is 50%. And you don't want to do anything average in this industry. The average realtor would be making more money at McDonald's full-time, working at McDonald's full-time, than they do in this industry. Average is broke. Average is struggling. Like, you want to be in that top 5%, not in the bottom 95% in this industry. So what do those ratios look like? And I know I said this kind of in the intro of this podcast, but you want to be striving for a listing presentation to client taken ratio of 90% or greater. That means that, boom, now you have a world-class presentation that is proven through your results. Numbers do not lie. Now, this is, and I know I already talked about this with a 2-step sales process, but okay, when I bring on agents into my real estate team, into my real estate organization, before we even start deploying or having them start focusing on their lead gen and lead follow-up, I make sure that they have their presentations in place, their presentations down, because I don't want them to waste all this time and energy on lead gen and lead follow-up, which is a very time-consuming portion of our business, to then just get to the table and either flop or convert at a mediocre percentage. Because look, you can easily go out there and double your business without having to do lead gen and lead follow-up by just maximizing your skill set, your ability to convert more appointments into clients. Okay, so then from there, just another tip, a mistake that most in our industry make is they think it's all about the presentation. Now, I know that might sound weird because the title of this podcast is how to create a killer listing presentation. And what I'm about to say is going to sound like an oxymoron and sound really funky, but I'll unpack it so you can understand it. But to have a killer presentation, it's not about the presentation itself. And what I mean by that, it's not about going into Canva and having extremely pretty slides and making, like, too many people, but too much emphasis on that portion of it. And I'm not saying to not go out there and have a professional slides or professional presentation. That's not going to, it's not going to hinder you. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to, it can help slightly. So I'm not saying that to not, have those things in place by any means. But what I am saying is, okay, whether I go on a listing presentation today or whether I have my physical presentation with the slides and with all of that, or if I don't bring those and I just go on the presentation and I just talk, I convert every bit as high, even when I do not have a physical presentation. So the presentation itself is about how you're guiding that experience, the confidence, the energy that you exude, the professionalism that you bring, and how you guide them through the experience. That is ultimately what is going to allow you to go out there and convert. So the reason why I bring this up is I don't want you to spend hundreds of hours on designing Canvas slides. I want you to spend more time in the 4-step framework that I'm going to walk you through, because this is the secret sauce to becoming a world-class listing presenter, world-class listing appointment converter, I should say there. Okay, and then I'm going to talk to you too about how do we gain that confidence. I'm going to talk about all of these things because it all comes together. It's all extremely important. And the reason why confidence is so important, I didn't have this on my notes to cover with you at this point, but I'm going to because it's so damn important, is okay, how does, let's just say you and I are going head to head, like we're all in real estate here. We're all real estate agents, team leaders, or broker owners. So let's just say you and I are going head to head on a listing appointment with XYZ sellers, right? How does that seller or sellers know if you're truly better or if I'm truly better? There actually is no way of them actually truly knowing that. What happens is through the experience with you and through the experience with me, they're going to develop a feeling. They're going to develop a feeling of confidence. How is that feeling? How is that feeling of confidence built and developed? It's built and developed through transference. So it's that transference of confidence that leads to the sale. So whoever's most certain is going to win that debate, win that scenario, win that negotiation, win that situation. So you got to make sure that you are extremely confident in your internal process. You are extremely confident in your ability to go out there and perform. Because in real estate, one of the things I love about real estate is we are not actually selling a physical product. And I know that might sound funky, like, oh no, Josh, you're wrong. Do I actually sell houses? And so do I, right? But what people already sold, and what I mean by this is people already sold on the fact that they want to buy and sell real estate. So what we are selling them on is, hey, I am the best guide. You are the best guide to get them from point A to point B. That's what you are selling them. So you got to go in there and deliver that presentation with a level of confidence, with a level of certainty, and in a specific certain way, so that you convince them that, hey, you are the best person out of everybody else they interviewed, out of all of your competitors. You are the best person, the best real estate professional to get them from where they're at, the current living situation that they're in, to where it is that they want to go. And again, I'll talk about how to go out there and gain that confidence. So now I want to walk you through my 4-part presentation framework. And then I'm going to walk you through what my personal listing process is, which will kind of help put this 4-part framework into actual, help make more sense in your head, I should say, when it comes to an actual listing presentation. Because this 4-part framework, I encourage you to really pay attention to this, because this doesn't matter what the type of presentation is, whether it's your listing presentation, whether it's your buyer consultation, or I know that a lot of you are team leaders, broker owners, also recruiting agents. This is going to apply to any of those. It doesn't matter what the presentation is. This 4-part framework is just a 4-part framework of an extremely effective presentation in itself. So what is the word framework? That just means formula. Like, okay, what are the components? What are the formulas? What is the overall process to creating a highly effective presentation? Okay, so there's 4 parts, 4 things that every effective presentation must have in it. Number 1 is to inform and educate. Now, inform and educate goes 2 ways. You need to be, as the real estate professional, informing and educating them on what the overall process is, what your overall process is. We got to make sure that they're informed and educated. They have all the information they need to make their best informed decision with their real estate goals and needs. But then also equally, you need to get informed and educated on what their needs, what their goals are. How can I possibly help anybody at the highest level accomplish their overall goals if I do not have extreme clarity on what they want, why they want it, why it's important to them, what their pain points are, it's pain and pleasure. They're having pain with the current living situation. They want out of that pain. They want to get to pleasure. I need to be able to identify that to be able to effectively keep the process moving forward and do what's right and best by the client overall. So step number one is, making sure that your overall presentation is doing an extremely good job at informing and educating the consumer, so your potential clientele, and then informing and educating you on what their real estate goals are, what their pain points are, that pain, that pleasure, what their needs are. Really important. Okay, part two is to articulate your value. As I said, people already sold on the fact that they want to buy and sell real estate. Dude, it's the American dream, right? Like, people want to go out there and buy and sell real estate. They're already sold on that fact. What my job is to articulate to them, to get them to believe and trust that I am the best guide. I am the best person. I am the best real estate professional to get them from where they're at to where they want to go. So you must articulate your value to them so they develop that level of confidence that you are the best person for the job. Okay, the third part of the framework is to identify and overcome any concerns. Concerns is just another word for objections. So you want to identify, then you want to overcome any objections, aka concerns that they have. And again, I'll walk you through that and examples of that when I walk you through my personal listing presentation process. Okay, step 4 of the 4-part presentation framework is to lead seamlessly into the close. An issue that I see so many have is they might even nail the first 3 parts, but then they don't ask for the business. They're not leading the process to that next step of the business. They're just sitting back, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the, potential seller to be like, oh, we want to go with you. No, it's like, okay, when I've got done with my whole entire presentation and we're all in agreement, I've identified and answered any concerns, and I believe that I've done my part on identifying, overcoming all those concerns. We're all on the same page, right? Like, I'm leading that process to, okay, hey, here's the next step. Pull out the listing agreement, start completing it, let them know what we're doing. I need you to sign here and here, right? I'm going to lead that process and make sure that my presentation is done in such a way where it leads at the end seamlessly into the next step, because an appointment conduction only exists to then get a signed client. That is it. That's the only reason that we're going on an appointment. So if we're going to conduct that appointment, we need to make sure that the whole presentation is done with the intention to then lead them to the next phase of the process, which is getting them to become a signed, committed client, so we can get their home listed, get their home sold, get their home under contract, and help them accomplish their overall real estate goals. Okay, so with that, again, step 1, inform and educate. Step 2, articulate your value. Step 3, identify and overcome any concerns, aka objections. Step 4, lead seamlessly into the close. Okay, so let me walk you through my overall listing presentation process. Okay, so I'm going to I have a whole visualization exercise. I'll just go through that too, even though it's actually not yet with me knocking on the door. But I'm going to pull up to that property 15 minutes early. You can call me woohoo, you can call me whatever, but I'm a big believer in visualization. So I pull up 15 minutes early to that property. For the first 5 minutes, I'm doing a visualization exercise I'm visualizing, I'm looking at the front of that house and I'm visualizing my sign in front of that house. Like it's already mine. And I'm creating that in my head. I'm manifesting on it. I'm visualizing on it. It just helps me prepare. Like, dude, I already got this. This is mine. So for me, I'm a big believer in visualization manifestation, which worked amazingly for me. So spend 5 minutes doing that. Okay, then get out of the car after that visualization exercise. So I'm walking up to the door with my listing materials, briefcase in hand, and I want to make sure I'm knocking on that door 10 minutes prior to the actual appointment time. Why do I do that? Because I want to I want to show them that I respect their time. I'm a big believer, and this is just how I was raised, dude. If you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. But here's the thing is, let's just say you're in a competitive market like mine. I'm in the most competitive real estate market in the US with, 60,000 agents just in my MLS. So I know that, okay, in most cases, they're interviewing other agents and whatnot. So then in that situation, I know if they're interviewing three of us, one of the agents is going to show up late. No one real, quote unquote realtor time. Realtors have a difficult time showing up to save their life on time. So they have to start the relationship off with an apology. Nope. Like I want to have everything the best. And when I'm thinking about this and I'm going through this, I'm like, dude, like I want to be the most timely. So I want to be the most prompt. I want to look the best, dress the best, smell the best, talk the best, present the best. I want everything to be the best, to a point where that decision is easy for them. Like I look at it, if I've failed, even if I get the listing, but I look at it, if I failed, if it's a tough decision for them to decipher of, oh, who should I pick? Like I'm really thinking about this stuff thinking through these things, through question I get so often from, other agents is, well, how should I dress? And maybe they see me on the GSDMode podcast here wearing, GSDMode swag, hoodies and t-shirts and whatever. Look, I've never been on a listing presentation in my life without rocking a nice suit. And I'm not saying that you got to wear suits, but to me, again, I want to look the best. I want to present the best. I want to talk the best. I want to be the most prepared. I want to smell the best. I want to be the most timely. Like I want this to be an easy damn decision for them. So I'm knocking at that door 10 minutes early. Second they answer the door, look them right in the eye, shake their hand. And now I'm going to instruct them of exactly how this process is going to go. Now, just in case this is helpful, when I set the listing appointment over the phone, before I hang up, I go through my appointment setting script. And before I hang up with them, I'm letting them know again exactly what is going to take place during that meeting. I am the professional leader. It's our job to be the unemotional professional leader of this process, right? So I'm going to lead the process. I don't want them interrupting my process. I don't want them when I walk in the door and saying, oh, we don't want to do the tour. We just want to talk to you about price. I'm not going to say that's never going to happen. But I'm going to do everything I can to lead that process. And it's very rare if you lead the process and you give people simple, easy to follow, explicit instructions with a reason that makes sense as to why you're doing this in their head. Okay, 90% of the population, or over 90% of the population, just complies because people are used to being led and people want to be led. So I'm going to lead this process. So it starts with when I'm setting that, like before we even show up for the appointment, they know how it's going to go. Then I have a confirmation email that goes out the second that I set the appointment, thanking them again for their time, excited with the recap of, again, what to expect during this presentation. Then when I show up, introduce myself, tell them I'm excited to meet them, right? Then I again recap what my instructions are going to be of how this presentation is going to go. I have them now lead me to the kitchen table because that's where we're going to meet. I never want to do a listing presentation. I've learned this stuff by making mistakes. So, I don't want to sit there and sound like I've always done it this way. No, dude, on the journey to selling 7,000 homes, been in the industry 20 years. I've made a shit ton of mistakes. I used to be a terrible listing agent, and that's how I got good, was I was so damn bad and my conversion rates were so damn terrible. I'm like, okay, how do I improve this? And I had to learn how to overcome those mistakes and the mistakes that I was making to go from, an industry average 50% listing conversion ratio to a 92% listing conversion ratio. Like I had to learn from my mistakes. So I don't want to meet in the living room and I got this spouse over here on this, spouse on either side of me. And then I'm playing like my head's a damn swivel. I don't want to, like, I want them deals get signed at tables, right? So I'm going to be at the kitchen table, right? But then from there, so I'm going to instruct them to lead me to the kitchen table, which is where I'm going to be setting down my belongings, which is where we're going to meet for me to walk them through the actual presentation itself. So I'm going to set down my belongings, but then before we go through the presentation, they're already instructed. They already know that I'm going to have them give me a home tour, right? So then the home tour is our chance to go out there and see the property, which is important. Like I believe tours are important. If I got a product to go out there and sell, like I want to see the product and I'm getting an idea of marketing and I ask them, hey, I want you to walk me through your property. Show me all the, main points of your property here. But most specifically, I want you to really show me the features that you love most. And I want you to show me the features that ultimately led to you choosing this home. Because I'm sure when you were looking at homes, you had multiple other options and you ended up choosing this home. I want to know what ultimately led you to choosing this home, because it's going to be really important in our marketing strategy to highlight those things. Now, I'm going to highlight everything, but to really highlight and showcase those, because the buyer of your home is more than likely going to buy this home for the same reasons that you fell in love with it. So I want to make sure that you highlight those out, for me. So then I've got my clipboard. I'm taking notes. I've got a list of our listing tour form. I've got a form and a process for everything right inside my business. So I'm going through that. And I'm also leveraging this time to go out there and really build rapport, get to know them, really develop rapport, because rapport matters. Like likability freaking matters. 88% of buyers and sellers choose those that they meet with and connect with first at the highest level in person. So that connection, it's not enough to just have the great connection, but it is really, really powerful. So I'm going to utilize that tool to really develop that connection, get to know their home, but then at the same time also, recap and make sure that I'm having clarity on what their real estate goals are and why they're looking at moving, where they're looking at going to. So I'm utilizing that, let's just call it 15, 20 minute of the tour process to really hone those things in. Okay, once the tour is over, we then end back up at the kitchen table. Then now, before each phase of the next step of the presentation, I am instructing and informing them of what's coming next because I need and want them to be laser focused on what I'm actually presenting at that time. I don't want to be presenting what my marketing plan of action is and them not really even listening because they're just thinking, dude, when are we going to get to the price? When are we going to get to the price? Or when are we going to get to commissions? Now, I want them to be focused at the thing that we're talking about. So I let them know, okay, first, once we're sitting at the kitchen table, okay, first I'm going to walk you through my marketing plan of action. Look, with real estate at the end of the day is a numbers game, meaning the more potential buyers that we get coming through your home, the higher the probability that somebody's going to fall in love with your home and put in a top dollar offer for your home. So one of the most important roles of my job is to market your property at the highest possible level and drive through as many potential buyers through your property as we possibly can. Because again, the more potential buyers that we get coming through your front door and seeing your home, the higher the probability is that we're going to get you a top dollar for your property. So first, I'm going to walk you through exactly what my step-by-step marketing plan of action is to maximize exposure and get the most people through your property. Now, as soon as I'm done walking you through my marketing plan of action, then we're going to discuss the comparables, and I'm going to then walk you through what my professional opinion, based on what we're seeing with the market and the comparables, what my recommended list price is for your home. Then once we get done with that, then I'll walk you through based on what the costs and expenses are, what the estimated net would look like, proceeds that you would end up collecting after the sale of your home, and then we'll go into any questions that you have, right? So I'm letting them know what phase is going to happen at each step. So then I inform and educate them on what my marketing plan of action is. So, and this is where, remember earlier in part 3 of the 4-step framework, I talked about identify and overcome any concerns, AKA objections that they have. So I'm going to pause before I move to the next step. So when I get done with the marketing plan of action, I'm going to take a pause. Okay. Hey, in a moment here, we're going to jump into going through what's going on with the market. I'm going to walk you through all the like-for-like comparables, recent, current actives, recent pendings, recent solds, just to your home. So then walking you through what I believe to be market value of your home and what I believe the best starting off list price is for your home. But before we do that, with everything I just walked you through on what my marketing plan of action is to expose your home to the most amount of buyers out there, because again, the more potential buyers that we get coming through your property, the higher probability one of them is going to fall in love with your property and write a full price offer on your home. Do you have any questions on what my marketing plan of action is and what I'm going to be doing to expose your home to the highest amount of potential buyers out there? So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a pause between each section of my listing presentation, just so, because I don't want to objection stack. I don't want to concern stack, because all of a sudden if they're like, oh shit, well, I got all these, I got these questions about what he's going to be doing marketing, and then we didn't address those. And then there's questions about pricing that we didn't address, and then there's questions about, commissions that we didn't address. And then when we get to the end, now they got a list of 5 objections. That's overwhelming. They shut down. But that feeling of confidence, that feeling of certainty that you're the right person, right, that faded away. So I want to pause, and this is really important. This is why I'm kind of putting some emphasis here. Pause during each portion. Okay, now I'm going to go through the comps, and then walk them through what my recommended list price is for their home. And then when I go through that, then again, I'm going to pause, get what their feedback is on that, see if there's any objections. So an example of this is, okay, hey, based on everything that we've just seen, all the comparables that we just got done looking through, as well as in my professional opinion, my recommended list price, starting list price for your home is $700,000. What are your thoughts on that? Well, we were really hoping for 750. Okay, so then now I need to unpack that, right? It's not, they may think I'm wrong, or maybe they were just hoping for 750. I don't know. And I'm not going to make assumptions. Like, how you overcome objections, how you overcome concerns is by getting clarity on what that true concern is. You got to know what the true core concern is, right? So then from there, okay, I tell them 700 recommendation. They tell me 750. Okay, we got a $50,000 variance there. I need to get them to hopefully see the light at 700,000, especially in a declining market like mine is right now. Like, you cannot be overpriced in this market. Like, you have to even be a little bit underpriced, almost 5% low, market value if you really want to move a property in a decent amount of time right now, because shit is just sitting and sitting and sitting. Prices are dropping. So in a declining market, when you got a ball rolling down the hill, you got to get in front of it to chase it, right? So it even becomes that much more important in a declining, and or softening market. So then from there, okay, now I'm going to, like, one of the best, most effective ways to overcome objections is start off by agreement. Now, I'm not going to get huge into objection handling because I have so many other podcasts where I've talked about that one that I'd recently just released on that, that you guys can go check out, where I spent about 40 minutes just on how to overcome objections. But in that situation, okay, they tell me 750. Hey, look, you have such a beautiful, so this is how I respond to that. Hey, look, you have such a beautiful home. I agree with you. I believe that all day long, your home should be worth 750. So we're on the same page there. You have such a beautiful home. I think that your home should be worth 750 all day long. But unfortunately, I don't get a set market value. You don't get a set market value. What buyers are willing to pay for homes just like yours right now, today, in this current market, is what sets and dictates market value. And based on all the comparables that we've just looked through, that's what buyers are willing to pay right now in this market that we're in right now. This is what buyers are willing to pay. This is what appraisers are going to be looking at. This is what buyers are going to be looking at. The realtors are going to be looking at. So with that being said, is 750, the number that you were just hoping for? Or do you think that there's something wrong or something that I'm missing with the overall comparables? Because those are two different objections, two different concerns. I got to know which path to go down so then we can get on the same alignment with pricing. Right? So then from there, once we're on the same page with pricing, and we've overcome all those concerns, then I'm going to go into my estimated net sheet, walk them through that. Now, if any objections come up with commissions or whatever, because that's where I'm putting all of that on there, a whole breakdown of all the fees so they can see everything, so they know it's like, okay, hey, here's exactly, here's the estimated net, and I do my best that I can to estimate what that net is from a place of accuracy before loan payoff. So then they can see that. We can have any conversations around that. Once we've come to agreement on that, then that is where okay, all the questions have been answered. And now that is where I'm leading seamlessly into the close. So that is going to be, so okay, we're all done with that, questions on that. We're all overcome all the concerns, just move. Okay. So then from there, I'm pulling out the listing agreement. And it's okay. The next step of the process is for us to complete the listing agreement paperwork, which I've got most of it completed here with me. So I've got a few questions for you. This will just take a few minutes. And then once we get done with this, then I'm going to walk you through room by room. I'm going to walk you through my home staging guide. Now, I've already explained my home staging guide and the importance of that during my marketing presentation with them. So they already know I'm going to be walking them through on exactly what they need to do to get their home showing at its best. Because like all you guys know, selling a home is about three things: product, price, promotion. So we got to make sure that product shows and looks at its absolute best. Got to make sure that we nail promotion. We got to make sure that we nail price. All three of those must come together to go out there and get a property sold successfully for top dollar, especially in a softening, declining market. We kind of got content and lazy and easy. Not saying that I did or you guys all did, but industry wide, we did over, from like 2013, 2012, 2013 till, about 2023, depending on what market you're in. But now that markets are correcting it, like listings are sitting, like you got to make sure that you're nailing those three things, right? So they already know that, okay, I'm going to walk them through the step-by-step staging guide, right? So then it's, okay, I got the listing agreement here. I've got most of it completed. I've got a few questions here for you. This will just take a few minutes to complete. And then once we get done completing this, Then I'm going to walk you through, and I just pick up my staging guide. Then I'm going to walk you through my how to prep your home for sale guide, walking you through room by room so you know exactly what needs to be done, or at least what my professional recommendations are for you to have done to make sure that your home's showing at its best, so that we can bring in our marketing team, make sure that we have all the marketing assets that we need to really promote your property on the MLS and all the other ways that we promote it, right? And I've already explained that to them. Then from there, I'm now just starting to complete the paperwork, and I'm waiting for them to stop me, right? So that is me leading seamlessly into the close, is an example with that. So that's my overall listing presentation process, of kind of what my protocol is on a listing presentation. Okay, so then from there, I talked about confidence earlier. Confidence matters. Like I said earlier, confidence is transferred. Sales is really a transference of conviction. So how do they know if you're the best? How do they know if I'm the best? They develop that feeling of confidence that you are the best. So you want to have the right energy. You want to have that right confidence. Again, how is confidence developed? This is developed through getting in your reps. So what I did, what I have my agents do, what I encourage my coaching clients to do is to get in 1,000 reps over the next 12 months. So once you've got your world-class listing presentation created, here's what I recommend that you do. Set up your kitchen table, go work your ass off all day, come home, spend a little bit of time with your family, whatever. When they go to bed at night, sit up for an hour and a half every night, because it only takes about 20 reps to get in through to get through these, because you don't have somebody on the other end. You're actually not doing the tour. We're just really, getting through the core portion of the presentation. Pretend as if there's a couple on the other side of the table from you, and just go through your presentation 3 times every night. If you do that every night for an entire year, you'll get in those 1,000 reps. And the reps aren't so much about mastering the presentation itself, even though, yeah, that will happen and you will master your presentation. The reps are about the confidence that you gain from it. Look, you need to get to that point. If you want to become a world-class listing agent, you need to get to that point where you truly believe that you are allowing this homeowner, this seller, to do a disservice to themselves if they do not choose you as the real estate professional. And look, we know what our competitors do out there. We know how bad there's some great competitors too, but the vast majority of them aren't great. They can't show up on time. They don't answer their phones. They can't complete contracts accurately. They're a bunch of amateurs. They don't actually look out. They're more concerned about their comfort than taking care of their clients. They're not putting their clients' needs first. Our industry is just filled with an abundance of that. So I look at this of, hey, look, I'm allowing them to do harm for themselves if they do not move forward with me, because I know what I bring to the table. I know I'm not going to let them down. I know I'm going to work extremely hard for them. I know I'm going to do whatever it takes to help them accomplish their real estate goals and to maximize the amount they profit from that property. And I'm truly convinced and believe that I do a better job at that than anybody in my marketplace. So again, I truly believe, like with every fiber of my being, that I'm allowing them to do a harm to themselves, do a disservice to themselves, and I'm not going in there with a place of arrogance. Right. But I'm going in there with a lot of confidence and certainty that I am the best person for that job. And it's not just something that I say, it's also something that I truly believe. But then from there, and this is where mastering your craft becomes so essential. I can't tell you how many real estate agents I talk to that have never taken time to figure out how to declutter properties, what actually needs to be done. They don't have that, how to prep your home for sale staging guide. It's like, okay, I've done all of that. I know exactly what my clients need to do from the second they decide to list with me to the second their home sells. I know exactly what must take place and what must happen for that property to sell, and what needs to happen for them to maximize their profitability through that deal. And I put the mastery in to identify those things, so I have that skill set to go through there and do that. Now I've got it all, so we're talking about like just prepping for the product. Because again, if our job, because now we're kind of going in a deeper level with this, is you got to nurture. Like you got to be able to nurture and fulfill on the customers that you bring in. Right. So then from there, okay, it's not about just getting the listing presentation. I got to fulfill on the promises that I told them I can go out there and do. And I got to make this, a process-based, simplistic system for them. So this is why, like, okay, just an example here with my staging guide. Okay, it walks them through, hey, here's a checklist, room by room, front of the house, garage, room by room, back of the house, everything that they need to do to declutter, get that house clean, to get it prepped so nothing gets forgotten. They got room by room checklist. It makes it easy and manageable for them. So this is why I go room by room with them, because anything in there that doesn't apply, I cross that out for them. So then now they have exact guidance of, okay, here's exactly what you need to do to get your home prepped and ready for me then to bring in my marketing team, my professional photographers and our marketing team. So then they can do their job at getting all the assets that they need to go out there and maximize exposure for your property. And then I have a checklist. Okay, the morning of, when I'm bringing in my professional photographers, our marketing team, here's exactly what I need you to do and exactly what I need to have done with the property so we can maximize, our photographer's time and get everything done. And we got to showcase that property at the highest possible level. Then from there, okay, once we're on the market, now I have a process for them, a daily checklist. Hey, before you leave the house, I know things, we're living life. It's a rush in the morning. It's a rush to get off to work. It's a rush. Like, here's a checklist of everything to go off and do before you leave this property. Because look, to maximize your ability to net the most, we cannot waste any opportunities. And there's going to be tons of situations where people are going to call you, where you're not home, whatever. You had to leave in a rush in that morning, and they want to come see your property. We can't, every one of those is an opportunity to get a top dollar offer. We cannot, we can't afford to not maximize on every one of those opportunities. So here's a simplistic checklist I want you and your family to follow every day, every morning, to make sure that the house, all these items are done before you leave the house so we don't accidentally miss out on one of those opportunities. Okay, then I have a process when every single realtor shows that property. Now, okay, look, dude, 2020, 2021, when he had 50 offers on every single property, okay, a lot of this stuff wasn't necessary. Now, today it is. Okay, part of marketing, part of promotion is our ability to put deals together. So, okay, like I know how to have conversations with those buyer's agents and put those deals together and how to instruct them to go back to their clientele and see what we got to do to put a deal together within the next 24 hours. I'm not just waiting for deals to come to me. It's my job to put deals together. And this is why, realtors get pissed when, the general public is like, well, I'm not willing to pay you that. And when realtors complain to me about it, I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing to increase the value that you bring? Because if you want to charge a premium, then you better bring a premium experience. You better either be able to net them more money to make it worth the premium that they're paying you. You need to either make the experience way better, way easier, way quicker, way more convenient. Like, how are you earning your premium? Realtors always piss, moan, and whine about these discounters. And most of the realtors that I see piss and moan and whine about the discounters, they don't really do anything different or have a higher level skill set or don't bring anything additional to the table than the discounters are doing. I'm like, well, why do you deserve to get more money then? Right? Just because your ego? Like, the money that you make is determined based on the amount of value that you bring to the marketplace. What value are you bringing? What value are you articulating? What value are you showing? Right? And this happened, that presentation, I look at our presentations is the pre-experience before the main experience. Right? So that's us, spinning, let's just call it my average listing presentation. Because remember, I'm not leaving that listing presentation, the vast majority of the time, I'm not leaving there without signed paperwork, right? And it's not because I'm refusing and holding them hostage. No, it's because they choose to go with me and we're in that process. And but I'm so beginning to end is usually an average of 2 hours. So I got that 2-hour experience. Now that's the pre-experience before the actual experience. Now I got to go out there and fulfill. Now I got to go out there and perform. I got to make sure I have the knowledge, the skill set, the processes to go out there and fulfill, deliver a great experience, and accomplish the goal for them that I told them that I was the best person to make that goal a reality. So then I got to be able to fulfill on that, right? So all of these things become so damn important when it comes to, just being a great real estate agent, a world-class listing agent. And if you are serious and committed to becoming a world-class listing agent, you are going to hone in all of these things. So much of our industry emphasis is just on lead gen, lead follow-up, and that's important. You got to master those things too. Client acquisition is extremely important, but then there's not enough emphasis, at least in my experience, in my opinion, on these other things. Like, you need to be great at it all. So my recommendation is master it all, go pro with this stuff. And again, if you are serious about taking your real estate business to the next level and you would like me to be your personal coach and you're looking for the most effective and affordable real estate coaching program in the industry, and look, I price this thing where it doesn't matter what your financial situation is, because I understand when sometimes when we really need the help, we don't always have the money. And then when we have a ton of money laying around, we don't always, need the help. So I priced it where anybody that wants or needs my help can afford my coaching program. So it's a real estate business mastery coaching bootcamp. You can check it out at www.gsdmode.com/coaching. It's a 20-minute in-depth video breakdown. The reason why it's long, the reason why there's so much in there is I want to make sure you have all the information that you need to make your best informed decision if it's the right coaching program for you. Below there is a button where if you have maybe additional questions that you need to get answered for you to know if the coaching program's for you, there's a way for you to book a one-on-one call with me personally where I can answer any questions that you have. Everything I do, zero pressure. I just want to make sure you have the answers that you need to know if this is the right coaching program for you. But if you're looking for the most effective coaching program in the industry that is also at the same time the most affordable, check out www.gsdmode.com/coaching. All right, guys, I hope that this was helpful. Go get working on your listing presentations. Keep crushing it, keep kicking ass, and I will see you next time. Peace.